welcome to episode 168 of Fourth and John. I am Dale Saunders here with the post-game pod with Evan Hollywood Hearn, Chris Malley, and my guy Prime. We, at the moment, are coming to terms with the moment that we kind of were expecting, but our hopes were up high. But the Eagles cut us low here, and we had an opportunity maybe to make the playoffs. You see Washington handle business by catching an L by the Panthers. All the Eagles had to do was win out, and they go to the playoffs. But let me remind you, it's kind of like a crossing roads right now. The Eagles can look at their franchise and their organization and look at how they're set up, in my Kevin Hart voice, and see that there's issues that need to be resolved. Whether it's, disconnect between your quarterback and head coach, the disconnect between the play calling and this offense and Doug Peterson, the disconnect between leaving Michael Jacquet out on an island. Just a lot of questions, and the Eagle fans need answers. It's a man in the mirror moment for the team. The team's got to look back and reflect on what happened over this whole offseason. How everything transpired, and the front office has to make tough decisions. And if you want to be basic, you want to do the same thing and do the whole insanity thing, doing the same thing over and over again, you can do that. But I feel like as a diehard fan base, I think we deserve better. We deserve better, and I think it's going to start pretty soon. I think things are going to. The reality show I talked about is only going to take another turn. But Evan Hollywood Hearn, how you feeling, my guy?
I feel like I just got stabbed in the heart, man. It stings. Whenever the season comes to an end and it's officially, donezo for the year, it's sad. It's sad to see. I thought that in the first half, the Eagles, it's so confusing to me because on the first drive, first few possessions the Eagles had, we were really cooking. We were looking good. The visions of being able to sneak into the playoffs was what everybody was thinking about. And then it just slipped out of our hands. And we just point back to one thing. It's been the one thing all season long. It's coaching. Football Kelly ended up putting out a tweet not too long ago, good friend of the show. And she said, the Eagles beat Daniel Jones, Nick Mullins, Taysom Hill, and Ben DiNucci this year. That's it. That's the list. That's where we're at. So, that says everything you need to know about this team. We were not a good football team all year long. Carson Wentz wasn't the only issue that we had this year. That's very evident. He didn't play well, but it's very evident he wasn't the only issue we had. And another season is wrapped up, man. Another season is wrapped up. Like you said, a lot of decisions have to be made this offseason. But I would start with the coaching staff and the front office. That's where change needs to happen first.
Chris, how you feeling?
One part of me is just happy that we can kind of move on and wash our hands of this whole situation and just move on to the draft. But that being said, we don't know what's going to change, man. Right now, we don't know who's going to be lining up a quarterback next year. We don't know if we're going to have sports having mismatches on defense still. We don't know if we're going to have Doug not utilizing Miles Sanders, our best weapon, and minus a really nice play that's all Deshaun Jackson, not Doug Peterson. The offense was more the same than that's been the majority of the year. Jalen Hurts on his own did great things against the Saints, did great things against the Cardinals, and then fell back to earth in the second half against the Cowboys. And it's a lot of things. Did the Cowboys make adjustments because teams finally have film on him? Because you have to remember, teams didn't have film on Jalen Hurts in the beginning. So was a little bit of that. He's still doing the good things I want to see that some rookies and even vets don't do. He's getting the ball away. He's not taking many sacks. But at the same time, you saw the flaws. There's times when Jalen Hurts thought he had an opening and he'd give up on a play downfield and run and get himself tackled or sacked. He threw the interceptions. He had the fumbles today. It's a lot of issues, and it's one of those things that just shows people that are super anti-Wentz. it's a whole team issue. Yes, Wentz played the Eagles out of some games. Yes, Wentz was playing awful and took us out of a position to succeed at times. But it's a whole team issue. I mean, and I know that we want to blame some of the players like Wentz, like Jalen Mills, Jaquette, but it goes to one person. It goes back to Doug, and then on top of that, it goes back to Howie. Howie's not putting enough talent on this team. He's whiffing on draft picks, and then Doug, who has power to call the right plays, isn't calling the right plays. He's not utilizing anyone correctly, and it's frustrating. And like, hopefully, we see a change next year, and they shake it up in the offseason. But we'll see. It sucks losing to Dallas, though, especially in that fashion there, especially with the fate in your hands with Washington losing.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's got to suck for Prime, who's actually in Cowboy territory right now. We're not shouting out your brother, but we're going to say good game, and then I'm going to buy him a steak when it's time because he deserves it. But how you feeling, Prime?
I'm ticked off. I'm feeling good right now, but I'm good enough to go ahead and still be on here and talk some game with you guys. But in reference to what Chris, Evan have mentioned, same results with the same play calling. Regardless on whoever the quarterback is, you're going to get the same goddamn results. Everybody it's Wentz's fault, and you guys see the title line. No matter what, at the end of the day, it's Carson's fault. Carson is the reason we lost today. Carson is the reason why we gave up 37 points. It's all on Carson, all right, because it's Carson's fault. All right, that's the part that I'm just like, this whole damn game, all I kept on doing was going Twitter and letting everybody know that it's Carson's fault because we sucked ass. Everything was in our hands with Washington losing, Giants losing. Next week would have been an important game to go ahead and play. I hope to God they lose next week so Washington can win this damn division because I don't want Dallas to win the division. Yes, I am in my brother's cave right now, and I'm pissed off, man. But hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, I think
this is the only reason why I've been keeping my composure.
I mean, I can go for a drink myself. I'm just kind of like more. You're starting to see things a little bit clearer. You know, like again, I just look at the play calling. A lot of it seems to be that Doug can't get out of his own way. You're talking about being in Dallas territory down by the end of the throughout the game and not getting points. Like I saw the comment there. It's like 4th and 15. You're like kick the field goal, man. There's still time left in the game where it's the beginning of the fourth quarter. Get some points. The ability to trust your kicker is not a thing here. I don't know what's going on there. Definitely, Fletcher Cox getting out of the game really did affect the defensive line and the pressure up front. You talk about having Barnett and a guy like Sweat, what they would have added to the pressure. That hurt us there. I don't think we had the depth. Our secondary, really, Michael Jacquet, he's been serviceable for a tire salesman coming in here as our CB2. But the fact that you would leave him out there like Schwartz, like he's getting torched, man. Like why not put Jalen Mills out there earlier? Like you see they're like picking the scab. Take advantage of knowing that you have at least Mills he's gonna do probably a better job.
He's a veteran at the very least. I mean, we were leaving Michael Jacquet out there, absolutely hanging him out to dry. It's very similar to what we saw with Nathan Gary against the Steelers. And when we knew it was a complete mismatch, and we were standing there wondering, what the hell were you thinking? And letting that, not calling a timeout, letting that mismatch happen. Michael Gallup, that was the guy I said pregame that he's the guy that I was nervous about. And that's exactly why. I mean, the wide receivers on Dallas are deep, and I knew that Darius Slay was going to do pretty well, containing the outside, and just Michael Gallup on the other side. It's tough, man. It's tough. He tends to tear us up every single game.
Yeah. So, sorry, Gail. Tim McManus just posted Doug Peterson after the game said that Jalen Hurts was dealing with lower body soreness, and that might have affected him in the second half. So we'll see what happens there.
Did the play calling have a lower body soreness too?
I mean, maybe if we ran miles
Calling
more,
had all over soreness to it.
Yeah.
Jesus from YouTube says, so do we win next week and help the stupid Cowboys get in the playoffs, or do we lose and get a top 5 draft pick? Again, like Eagle fans are still gonna not want to lose. I'm in the boat of like exhaust every means to see who you have on this roster and put them on the field. This is the last moment you're going to get a chance to evaluate some of the talent that's here.
Yep.
This is a perfect opportunity to get people who need snaps, and evaluate.
Does that mean that you want to move forward again? Just start Hurts for the rest of the season, like the rest of the season being next game, or would you throw Carson back out there?
If they're trying to be cute and just try to see like what Carson, has in the tank, and if they're trying to like, it's kind of shitty though. Like you put it once out there after sitting for 3 games, and now like go play the last game, bud. Season's over. Why? Again, like it's a lot of people in the comments are saying it's Carson's fault. It's Carson's fault. Kind of reiterating what's Prime said, but like we're looking at the coaching, man. The coaching is being like it's not being overlooked. We've seen this all season. The fact that you got to look at being able to adapt like a boxer. You jab, and the hook's coming, dude. Like switch up your game. The fact that they're one of the worst run defenses in the league, and you couldn't figure out how to run on them, or like you're effective. Miles Sanders finally got 15 carries, but on the he had 57 yards on the ground. I felt like they went away from that. I felt like they still needed to play off that. Play calling was kind of stale. Like I wish I would saw more misdirection. I don't know, man. I'm just out of all the, who's the biggest disappointment today?
I think it's Doug Peterson again.
Yep.
It comes down to Doug Peterson, his inability to adjust, just completely ignoring the run game. It all comes down to him. It always has been. It's like that meme with the 2 astronauts staring at the moon. Always has been, Doug. The issue's always been there.
It's definitely Doug Peterson. I mean, we make fun of Mike McCarthy, made fun of Jason Garrett, but it's like you just lost. You're up 14-3, and you know that you have your fate in your hands. And this is what the Eagles did: touchdown, punt, field goal, half, punt, 4th down, turnover, interception, fumble, interception. It's like what are we doing here? You know what I mean? It's just like we regress within games. It's like if you're a Sixers fan or just watch the Sixers, like I feel like it's the same thing. Like you just blow games at the end, and like what you have to do. It's like feed Embiid. It's like feed Miles, and it's like we just make no in-game adjustments, and it's so frustrating. Like it's the same thing. Like you see teams like the 49ers, they're missing Nick Bosa, like they're hurt all over the place. They got rid of Quan Alexander. The 49ers shut down the Cardinals yesterday. And it was so crazy watching that, because you just see a really good defensive coordinator in Salah, and he's actually going to be one of the top coaching guys that people are looking for. Like, I want that. Like, I want a coach that can use whoever the crappy GM gives you and just utilize them to the best of the abilities. And we can't do it. It drives me insane.
I'll bring you on to the show. Shout out to Mike's in the building. His handle says "blow it up, Mike." Mike, you're feeling a certain way.
Blow it up. We need to do like Wile E. Coyote in the cartoons and that thing that you push down.
The TNT?
Yeah. That's what we got to do. If it were me, I would get rid of everybody except Swoop. I would give him a pass because of COVID. There weren't any fans there this year, so I can't blame him for the crowd noise being low. But outside of that, they need to – I mean, it's the same thing. Like I was thinking back to the parade when Kelsey got up there and went on his rant and said, this person. They said that Nelson Aguilar couldn't catch. They said that Jason Kelsey was too old. They said Lane Johnson can't stay off the juice. It's the whole team. Well, it's the whole team. Like,
Yep.
I mean, Doug Peterson, it's the same lack of identity on offense every week, where you look at other teams like Tennessee. All right, they're going to get the ball to Derrick Henry as much as they can and ask Tannehill to make a few plays. You look at like Kansas City, and they got Patrick Mahomes and he does his thing. But like with us, it's like any given week, it could be any game plan or any player. There's no real identity.
Yeah, I think you actually just hit the nail right on the head. You know exactly how these other teams are going to build a game plan and attack a defense. I mean, the Kansas City, they got Patrick Mahomes, and in New Orleans, they got a guy like Alvin Kamara who can pop off for 6 touchdowns. Like these are the guys that you work your game plan around. And all of these coaches that have success, they know who their playmakers are, and they get the ball in their hands. And every time the Eagles take the field, it's a total toss-up as to whose day it's going to be. I mean, and that speaks to even last year. We didn't have a wide receiver go over 500 yards. I mean, it was the same sort of spreading the ball around this year. Granted, I understand there was injuries, but there's injuries on every single team. We had playmakers throughout the entire season. We disregarded Miles Sanders the entire season. And it's just malpractice by Doug Peterson, in my opinion.
Mike in the chat and on the show at the same moment. But 47 pass calls and 23 call runs, is that a balanced attack?
Not to me.
I'll give Doug a little bit of credit. In the first half, it was even, like it was balanced. But then with him, it's like you get down a touchdown and it's all pass plays after that.
First half, it was more like the first 2 possessions, and that was it. That was it,
man.
I don't understand why he gets away from the play calling, and it's horrible from the rest of the way out, man. Regardless of who you have behind that, hiking the ball.
You see, John,
results,
in the pregame, I was discussing how I was going to shoot a porno today. I was going to shoot a humiliation flick with the Dallas Cowboys, and Jerry Jones was going to be peeping from the box. It didn't exactly go to plan. My talent was not exactly what I was looking for when I signed the contract. They came up small. The Eagles showed up flaccid today. What can I say?
Cox got hurt.
Yeah, I mean, Mike said your Cox got hurt. The thing that pisses me off the most is like I was taking on this evaluator role as a fan. Like, I know what the team is. The team is ass right now. I'm just gonna evaluate the talent. They sucked me in right before the last couple games. Like maybe they make the playoffs.
Yeah,
they hit this Deshaun Jackson offense looked kind of hype, and now here we are. Like you lose to Dallas, your rival, and Lurie has to be feeling a certain way when he looks at Doug Peterson.
100%.
You lost. This was your playoffs right here. Like you couldn't get your team up to like perform at this given moment. Everything was, the door was wide open for you, and for you not to, coach your way out of this, whether it's by play calling or, like doing the right thing here, it didn't happen. And Lurie's got to be like, look, you didn't make the playoffs. Yeah. Now, if something has to be done, he has every reason to be like, all right, we're moving forward.
And it's not only this game. Like, look at the landscape of the NFC East itself. Like, it's embarrassing for every other team that doesn't win this division. Like, every team that ends up in second, third, and fourth place in the NFC East, it's an embarrassment. Like, this division was absolutely awful. And if you couldn't win this trash division, your team is really trash, and that's where we're at.
Is that hard to? Is that hard to say as a diehard Eagles fan? My team is trash right now.
It is what it is, bro. Like I just gotta call a spade here. Like I can't say that we have a good squad. I have no confidence in any factor of it. I don't know who my coach is going to be next year. I don't know who my quarterback's going to be next year. It's totally up in the air.
And we're bringing on Malcolm. Malcolm and his
what's up, bro?
His tag says fire Doug. So you're feeling that mood, Malcolm?
Oh, hold on. I think you're muted real quick.
Go ahead, Malcolm.
If you don't bring in an OC to help him, I think you gotta let him go because he got too much dip on his shit. It's he'll know what to do anymore.
Dead ass, man.
You know,
Dead
I
ass.
mean, it's just valid. It's not even like it's the writing is on the wall. Like if you can't get this offense started, you know, like if you can't put Wentz in a place to succeed, we wanted Wentz to be saved by play calling. You know, let's save him from himself and actually, you know, play to his strengths. He didn't do that. We did get some juice from Jalen with his legs, but again, was Doug's play calling figured out, or Hurts didn't have a solid game. You know, he put up some passing yards, but
adjustments once they made adjustments on him as well.
Now, like if we're going around the room and people in the chat, if you had one move to make and you could only move on from one, is it fire Howie or is it fire Doug?
To me,
that comment was fire both, but I'm saying
no, yeah, I get a lot of the chat's going to want them both gone. To me, I think that you can like Doug Peterson's going to not want to not have total control over this game plan, and I think that ego is going to get in the way of the Eagles being able to succeed. So for me, I hang on to Howie Roseman. And I'm just assisting him with a football guy. I'm giving him someone that can assist him in the draft, and I'm just letting Howie negotiate contracts. That's just going to be his role. And as for Doug Peterson, we got to replace him. If I'm choosing one person, I'm replacing Doug Peterson.
And now look at the comment. Curtis Roberts says, "Bring in Eric B from KC." Is that the kind of vibe you guys are trying to go with?
Hell yeah, I'd be all over Eric B. If he wants to come here, if he wants to come try and right this ship, I'm all for it.
You know, there's a story from Matt Lombardo who said the whole Dorsey thing. Dorsey could be a candidate for a GM. Well, then we find out that guy is actually a consultant in our building, and that he would potentially team up with Eric B. Not saying that's going to happen, but it's something that was reported by Matt Lombardo probably a couple weeks ago. So that's an interesting. You know, Daz says Howie 100%. Todd says fire Howie, and fire Howie again. I don't know if he fired someone 3 times, but I think from a drafting perspective, he hasn't done a great job over the last couple years, right, in the drafting department. But bringing on Jimmy Smith on the road to victory. Too bad we're not on the road to victory. How you feeling after what you saw today?
On the road to a rebuild.
That's where we're headed, bro.
Is that the vibes, man? Is that the real vibes you're feeling right now?
Well, let's be real with ourselves here. The last few weeks, you know, we were getting a little excited. I myself, especially, you know, it was nice though with the crap year we've had. It was nice to get some excitement from the Eagles finally and be like, okay, maybe they'll surprise us, sneak into the playoffs. We'll see. Yeah, well, that was asinine because this defense clearly played like garbage once Fletcher Cox went down. Michael Jacquet got smoked. He played well last week, but this week he just looked like complete garbage. And, you know, we knew that we were playing banged up, but I was hopeful. I wanted to ride that energy, ride that wave, excitement, you know, but there just looked like no accountability. People looked pissed off at each other. Blake Jackson, you saw sitting on the offensive side. I'm pretty pissed. I didn't see these guys play with heart. We knew Jalen Hurts was still young. We talked about the fact that there was going to be a competition next year. I think that that's still going to happen, but there needs to be changes, man. Doug Peterson, just holy shit. I really just, on the road to a crack house. I'm on the road to put my head through a wall. That was hard to watch. Like, seriously, I was so excited for that game. And I had to try to chill out before I came on, and I'm still pissed off, to be real with you.
Yeah.
You know, talk about putting holes in a wall. You know, shout out to Suck, we're gladly he's here to join the show. Got in a fight with Cowboys fans.
Got some cool jewelry. Got a nice bracelet.
We thought he was going to get arrested, but they didn't press charges, and he's here on the show. Look at this. That is the real one. Respect, Soko. First of all, tell us how this fight went down. We don't approve fighting here, but If you fight Cowboy
was
fans
it
for a reason.
was it Dallas Goedert-esque?
No, so the big issue was
Booze.
common Cowboys fans. A lot of noise talked, a lot of mess talk throughout the duration of the game. The third quarter hit, I put down my final beer and said, "Let's go ahead and handle this." Stepped outside, put one down. Next one stepped up, and yeah, it was history for them. You see, nothing on
That's clean face right there.
my
That's clean
face
face.
is pretty clean, bud. Obviously, Golden Navarre Police Department stepped in and saved them.
This guy, definitely repping the Eagles brand all the way down in Florida. At the end of the day, it's these kind of games can get you upset, man. I don't know, you're feeling a certain way when you're up 14-3. At that moment, I mean, everybody thought it was about to be a breakout.
Gail, what's called Miles Sanders just said at the podium, says that there was a lot of miscommunication and that the Eagles were not locked in at all for the game tonight. Like, that pisses me off. Like, that this is a do or die game against Dallas.
Yep.
And you are saying that you were not locked in, you could have played smarter, and there was miscommunication. Like what are we doing? Like,
it's Carson's fault.
Like, you hear he's a distraction. He put out the story from Adam Schefter, but it's just like, dude, like, it's so frustrating though. Like, there's drama outside, there's drama inside. You hear things about practice. Josina Anderson never tweets unless it has some weird thing to do about the Eagles. Like, there's just so much bullshit surrounding this team. We're like debating if we want the GM gone, the coaching gone, who's gonna play quarterback. Like, it's crazy. Like, you really must just have to blow it up and just completely wash your hands of all these issues. It's a fucking mess, dude.
And it's completely disgusting. You're right that the Eagles should have to find any sort of extra motivation to find the juice to be able to play this game. But where does that all fall back to? Who is in charge and responsible for making sure this team gets up? It's the coach. It's the head coach. He's the one that is in control of this locker room. He's the one that's supposed to set the pulse for this entire team, and he hasn't done so the entire year. So, Doug, pack your bags, pal.
Now,
get your walking papers.
You can see Hurts on the sideline looking at Doug like, this call ain't it. He's actually like, this call is shit. I feel like when you talk about the culture of a football team, that rests solely on the head coach. You can have a losing team, but the team fights. They can execute, but they come up short. You're seeing a team week after week, not execute. We're talking about like guys going off sides. We're talking about even Zach Ertz going off sides, and just like players.
A couple of drop balls from Zach today too.
Drop balls. And you're looking at like situations like how you guys keep on getting penalties right now. Like, you're shooting yourself in the foot back to on like all these different plays, and you're like, that's not a well coached football team. Yep. Like, and we expect more because the standard is the standard, which has been set by Doug Peterson in the new norm. We expect this because we've seen greatness from this football team. You don't want to keep on going back to 2017, but that's where you measure. That's the measuring stick for excellence that we've seen in our lifetimes as Eagle fans. So if that's where it is, that's where you're
the bar, man.
To be judged.
That's the bar.
The frustrating thing about that, though, is like, you had a formula. Like, you saw what worked for us, and then you decided to go away from that. Like, running the ball, 3-headed attack, getting people wide open, RPO, whatever. And then fast forward to now, and it's just been like hodgepodge. Just like, all right, like you said earlier, 1 week we're going to feature this guy, 1 week we're going to feature that guy, instead of like running the ball and then play action pass or something.
Gail, you asked the question on if we only had one choice. fuck the one choice. All right, I'm pushing the button on both of them. Howie's got to go. Doug's got to go. They both got to go. All right, you need a clean house. You need to bring new management up here. You need to bring a new head coach. You need to bring a new GM. So that way we could go ahead and make better decisions.
I noticed you didn't say quarterback.
But see that.
Well, Prime,
and I'm not because you're going to go ahead and let these two quarterbacks duke it out. Show me you want to be here. Show me you want to be the starting quarterback. That's the mentality that new coach, that new GM needs to come in with. Whether if it's Dorsey, whether if it's Eric B, you know what I mean? It's the communication, letting those guys know, hey, this is a fresh start. I'm not going to go ahead and be the guy to tell you that you're out of here. I'm going to let you go ahead and show me you want to be here. That's the mentality I would hope that the new GM and new coach come in to do.
Like I feel like that, you know, like the culture, not only does the culture need to change in the locker room with the players and the coaches and play calling and all that, the culture needs to change in the front office, and the fact that no one needs to be micromanaged, and nobody wants a GM who is like actually setting the roster. You know, if Doug Peterson won you a Super Bowl and you don't believe in trust that he has the faith in who to play, and if you start getting into this vibe where the GM is out there in control and setting the roster, that's weird, man. And then it becomes a Game of Thrones on each week on who's going to be out there, wide receivers, your linebacker play. There's definitely some issues there. You know, some of the vibes from the players, they're saying they felt like it was either one or the other. It's either Doug or it's Howie. But after seeing a lot of these reports out here, it seems like Howie's staying. And Doug could be, you know, the target is on Doug right now.
I mean, let's just look at this. Like we're gonna have an entire offseason to try and figure this thing out. There's no way that we go status quo and go into like we're all in agreement there, right? Like regardless of whether Howie Roseman or Doug Peterson's the one to go, someone's gonna end up leaving the building, right? Because you can't go into this next season and expect for better results to happen with what we did this year. You can't.
Hopefully with the idea that you finished last in the worst division, that motivates Lurie to do something big.
Yep.
Maybe he taps into his heart and listens in the emotional intelligence. Listen to your heart, Jeffrey. Like the fact that, you know, Howie Roseman might be the lapdog to Jeffrey Lurie. You think if that's the only guy that he trusts in here, in-house, especially if he moves on from Doug, he's going to have to keep somebody that he trusts. And if Dorsey, because I'm like, Prime spoke to new management, does that speak new management to you if he has a guy managing him in a drafting department? Because I feel like the most important person you bring to this Eagles franchise is the guy who's picking the players. The guy who has final say is going to be the most important guy here the next 3 years. And who is that guy going to be?
I mean, you're right, because development is important, but like you need to have a solid foundation to develop off of. So you need to be able to pick the right guys in order to make anything happen. I mean, Doug can try until he's blue in the face to develop players, and quite frankly, that hasn't been proven to work very well. But he needs a solid foundation to start off with. You need a star that you could turn into a superstar, not an average player that you could try and make into just, you know, a functioning player within the offense. We need more than that.
Michael says, Doug's the worst coach in the league. Let him coach the Jets and the Jags. Could you all agree that there's a culture problem?
100%.
You know, that's like on a scale of 1 to 3. Let's throw out some ideas. Like, what on a scale of 1 to 3? What's your number one reason?
The culture problem? I mean, I feel like this is the thing, like that people kind of forget. After you win a Super Bowl, there's people that are left over from the Super Bowl team, and half of them are going to be like super motivated to get there again. The other half is like, okay, I'm there, I got paid, I had my Super Bowl, and like you can tell like they kind of coast a little bit. And then you have guys that are just using this as kind of like a stepping stone to get to like another team that they think's like the Kansas City Chiefs, something like that. And then you have young guys that don't really know what it's about yet. We're like a mixture of it. And then you add in the fact that you have a quarterback that people believe in, like Carson Wentz, and then you add in a second-round pick with the drama with Jalen Hurts, and who's not only a second-round pick, he's probably one of the most likable guys in the draft, the entire draft. People love Jalen Hurts. He's really, really easy to be a fan of. Great dude, has the upside. So you add Carson Wentz, who people love for what he's done for the city, and then you add in Jalen Hurts for what people project him to be, and then that already starts more drama. You have the locker room that has a bunch of personalities in it, and then you have the Philadelphia media and the Philadelphia fans, and it's all like immediate reactions. And then you throw in the fact that you have guys like Justin Jefferson lighting up the world, setting records, and then you took Jalen Reagor instead of him. That adds fuel to the fire. You take Davion Taylor, who's not even playing right now, instead of someone else. Jeremy Chin goes right after Jalen Hurts, and he's probably going to be Defensive Rookie of the Year. I mean, and then you look at DK Metcalf playing up on Seattle, and J.J. Arcega-Whiteside's not even dressing. And then you see Sidney Jones playing on another team. You see Rasul Douglas playing on another team. So I think it's just a lot of people pointing fingers at each other. Doug's pointing fingers at Carson and at Howie. You have Howie pointing down at everyone else, and then you have Carson pointing fingers at everyone above him. And I think that's like the biggest thing. It's just like a really toxic culture because you have fans and a front office and a locker room that's split on the quarterbacks, and you add on the injuries, and people may not trust the medical field, the staff. I mean, it's bad, man. Like, it's really bad.
Yeah.
Snazzle93 says, remember, this is the new norm, guys. I've coined it the new storm. What we're going through. Rocky Road is the favorite official ice cream of Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh.
Daz over here is puffing his chest. He says, Wentz is my QB1, period, all caps, no cap. Mark talks about the Super Bowl hangover. That is real. You talk about players who were leaving the locker room, talking about the Saint 2017. So you're talking about players that speaks to
where their heads are at.
That's going on in here.
Yep.
Players are leaving. Sharif Miller says it's the worst place to play. I mean, obviously you got cut that day, so you might feel a certain way. But there's something. There's something in the pudding down here, and it's.
You think we get more tweets of that like that tomorrow? Worst place to play.
If someone gets cut, I wouldn't be surprised.
I saw the comments in there just saying, do players look at a place as Eagles as a place that they want to go? If you're a free agent, I mean, can we afford free agents at this moment? But I think, is this a destiny that players want to play at right now with the volatile locker room with two quarterbacks? You don't know which way you're going. It's a weird space right now.
Right.
Mess.
And to answer your question, Gail, just getting back to like the three things that are really have been the biggest issues with us. If I could put them in order, the third worst issue that I'm seeing through my lens is the nostalgia. The nostalgia of trying to keep players around from that 2017 season, trying to recreate something that just people just don't have the same juice for after they get that first Super Bowl. Chris, like you said, there was plenty of guys on this team that showed up and were ready to go out there and compete again and try and get there again. And there was other guys that they just lost. They lost the juice to be able to want to do that. The second worst issue I would look at would be leadership, just the general leadership on this team. We look at a team with 8 captains. We have absolutely no leaders on this team. Ever since Malcolm Jenkins has left this locker room, it's been apparent just that we have no real glue hanging on and no core group of guys. We've heard stories about Carson Wentz having his own core group of guys. And if you're not in that circle, you're on the outs. And so like that kind of thing existing within a locker room that isn't bringing people together, that's tearing a locker room apart. And and the number one issue I would look at from this team is the egos in the front office, the egos in this head coaching staff, and no one being willing to adjust, everyone thinking that they're doing the right thing and it's everybody else's fault as to why we're not succeeding. That is where I rank them.
I mean, the body language from Doug Peterson week to week in press conferences alone it tells me everything I kind of need to know about where he's like he feels uncomfortable. I feel like he doesn't know what the right thing to say is, and I feel like he seems very uncomfortable. And I feel like what we're seeing is probably a fraction of what's going on behind the scenes.
He's a
Like,
puppet. He's a puppet, bro.
He's
a puppet.
So I mean, I'm saying like the fact that is if the message is getting stale, you gotta move on, man.
Well, that's kind of like what you were talking about earlier. Like, what are the three things in this team not playing with a sense of urgency? Like, for me, the thing that's a little disturbing is you keep seeing these guys come off the practice squad. Like last year, Greg Ward, and he's playing harder than some of the guys that have been on the team for a while. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of like a coaching thing. But then when you look at the rest of the team and the makeup, you look at Howie Roseman giving out these big contracts left and right. You're not going to play as hard as a guy who could get cut any week if you've got, guaranteed money, guaranteed contract, and we got all this money invested in the offensive line and other places. But that also points a finger squarely back at Howie Roseman, because not only have we not drafted good, but our cap situation, especially going into next year, is horrible. I mean, we potentially could have got Andre Hopkins if we would have had more cap space or something. Like what they traded for him wasn't that big of a deal, but we had no cap space for it. And even today, like Slade played good. I mean, he got the pick, but then everybody else around him's horrible because the money isn't spread around it well enough.
Mm-hmm. You talk about money, Leighton Mahala Jr. Are you guys fine with letting Ertz walk and make Goddard the number one tight end? I mean, I actually follow Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz's brother Nick actually follows, and I saw him on a podcast, and I was watching it because I was trying to figure out where he stood as Zach Ertz's brother.
You know that he's getting a little inside scoop of what's going on. For
yeah,
sure.
And he's not. I knew he wasn't. He's like disclaimer. I'm not speaking for Zach, but I'm even Zach will tell you that if we're about to do a rebuild, the best thing to do is move on from my brother. And Zach would tell you the same thing. And Zach has already reiterated that I'm going to work hard this year, give my all for the Eagles, and we'll talk about it in the offseason. So if you move on from Zach, what is it, 4.4 mil is the dead cap on that?
Yep.
Jimmy, you know that on that?
I think it is around 4 mil, yep.
Because it's looking like they trade Zach Ertz.
Well, whatever it is, we don't have a choice. Like the cap number is so ridiculous next year.
Yep.
Exactly, Michael. Exactly. Because we talked about how many people throughout the weeks that you're going to be surprises, maybe some restructure so people won't have to go, but you're going to see a lot of contracts changing because we're in cap hell and we got to get younger. This is getting old, man. Alshon Jeffrey, Deshaun Jackson. I love the guys. And I mean, it's cute to see him out there. Hey, like, riding out on a high wave. I mean, it's just stupid to me, though, honestly, because Quez Watkins, Jalen Reagor, if they're our future, we need to know, because this draft's going to be insane, man. Look at all the issues we had. We thought we could cover it up with the quarterback and everything. It's all fine and dandy, man. It's not. This is going to be wild, man. We're at the 6th pick in the draft, I think, currently. So maybe some Jamar Chase, maybe a real number 1 receiver. I'd be okay with Devontae Smith if the Eagles go ahead and, like jackasses, finally win a game next week.
Yeah.
Imagine if they do that.
And how much are you enjoying this experience so far?
Honestly, I think this shit is terrible, doing all this.
Yeah, Jimmy, speaking of that pick, someone just tweeted at me and said, we can't draft a wide receiver like Chase or Smith when we have a need for quarterback so desperately. Top 5 and 6 picks don't come around too often. It makes sense to spend it on the most important position in sports. So
Tell your friend to hook me up with whoever his guy is, because that is some good.
Could you imagine? I joked about this. Imagine if Howie Roseman drafted like Trey Lance from North Dakota State with like the 6th pick overall.
Bro,
I'll go beat his ass myself.
The whole city would burn if he drafted a quarterback.
Yeah.
If
there would be a legit purge in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
it would be bad if he.
The scary thing is we don't know what he's going to do now. You know what I mean?
QB factory up in this bitch. But
not only that, he drafts Trey Lance and then drops the QB factory again next year as the reason.
I don't think you have the facilities for that, big man.
You don't have the facilities for that, big man. And I think you need to bring in a playmaker. You need playmakers. You need cornerback. If you don't realize we need a cornerback, if today wasn't a perfect day that you're talking about Farley up there, Surtain is up there. You're gonna have to start. Everyone start doing their homework because look at the cornerbacks in the top 10. We're right there in the makings to get a cornerback or Chase. I don't think we're gonna get a quarterback, but the people are like, well, look at the quarterback. What quarterbacks are getting paid? If you could get a top quarterback and they get rid of the GM, sometimes GMs want their guys. This is very true. Like GMs come like, my job is directly tied to my quarterback. So if I don't believe in one of you guys, I don't think they could come into the situation and say, I don't believe Carson can play at all. I don't think they look at Hurts and say that he can't play at all. And for a rookie, you have someone that you can develop. But again, if Wentz is like, I'm out of here, and Hurts is still the guy, the new GM, how he's not going anywhere, guys.
Did today's performance temper expectations from what you expect for Hurts, or where you guys stand with Hurts right now?
I think it just shows that there's bigger issues than just the quarterback. It's Doug. It is Howie, with the drafting, with the depth, all these things. We're talking about practice squad guys, talking about, the fact that we try to cover it up with happiness and the excitement, but this team has been bad all year. And we got a little taste, like I said, of glory last couple of weeks, excitement. But I'm going to go back to the fact, what I've been saying. I think it's going to be a competition, but it's a good thing for us, man. These two dudes are going to battle it out. And if it is a new coach, he gets to see who his quarterback is, and he gets to pick between two really good quarterbacks. So I don't know if it's Doug, a disconnect. If, you guys are saying 3 points, give me 4. The players, the coaches, the management, and ownership, everybody, man, you've all sucked this year. And we see that there's a disconnect between all of you. And it pisses me off. Somebody, I think Kurt, maybe in the comments earlier said it. The thing that pisses us off is that we put so much into being an Eagles fan, and we love our team so much, and we just ask that you fight a little bit, and you come out and play like ass against the Cowboys with your season on the line. It's bullshit, man. There needs to be some kind of accountability.
I mean, it's just annoying, though, because, that you need to hit on these draft picks, which we really don't know how a lot of these guys are. Kayvon's barely playing. Davion Taylor's hurt. They're barely playing Quez, who's looked pretty good. Hightower's barely playing. Bradley got banged up today. Jalen Hurts, you get to see him for, 4 or 5 games. And then Jalen Reagor, I mean, there's promising things, but, I know that I'm down. We're all kind of down on him right now, but, what wide receiver is doing that good in this system right now? I mean, no one. Each guy is getting 3 or 4 catches a game. And then I know that people are really pissed about Reagor at the last play before the half. I was too, and then I rewatched it. It was Alshon, Miles Sanders, Goddard, and Greg Ward made a wall of 4 people. If you rewatch the play, there's one tackler. All 4 run straight by him. And Reagor was ready to just run, and he gets tackled. Everyone's just avoid the guy. It's dude, if you see 4 of your teammates blocking one guy, you're expecting him to get blocked, and then they absolutely whiff. No one touched him. Miles Sanders briefly hit him. It was bizarre. Even a play that looked like it was set up right, they just could not execute it, and they've done that all year. I mean, it's just really frustrating, man. I mean,
I just I think you have to set your players up for success too. I think at the end of the day, you are seeing some players that leave here and that flourishing. So it could talk to scheme, it could talk to a lot to coaching. So obviously, that's an area of I got the biggest target on coaching right now. I need to change. There's only so many scapegoats at this point in time. I'm going to send out a link if guys, again, that are listening to the podcast. This is a live show, so we are inviting people to the show. If you want to come on, give us your hot takes and jump on and tell us how you're feeling after this Eagles, Dallas loss.
And just so we're still clear, I mean, it still stands. Cowboys suck, man.
We suck.
The other thing too is they don't develop any players. Like
No proven development.
They don't really give the young guys a chance, and even then, like Mulata isn't great, but for weeks we've been saying like they should start him instead of Peterson. Then you look at Andre Dillard; he never really got on the field. What's the last guy that they drafted or brought in and really developed into a decent player?
Wentz is one of the only ones, and then he just fell off the cliff. But he's the only one because he's the only Pro Bowler that Howie's drafted. Only one, other than maybe Ertz, if you consider that a Howie pick. Like other than that, there's like nothing. Like
I mean,
Wentz is the only one.
Yeah, it's hard to see. I mean, you're talking about the guys at Rossville Douglas, Sidney Jones,
Derek Barnett.
Derek Barnett, has he, like if you're talking about bringing up, undrafted free agents like Corey Clement, I mean, call that Singleton,
Sudfeld.
Factory. I mean, there's not a lot of players here, and this is why we're in the position we're in. We had
Dorson is my favorite.
We had a window where we could succeed if we hit on draft picks, and that's where we botched the whole thing. Now, if Dorsey is a guy that we're going to rely on, which I'm all for, making risky picks, I actually would go back to the situation of like, I think that there's a period of time that we thought we were so good that we could pass on, players that had, background issues. Like, bro, like sometimes you got to make some picks that don't, mix with the norm. And I'm not saying that I approve over like, some players that are out here getting arrested, but Andy Reid brings guys in like that. I mean, he takes chances on some of these guys, takes second chances on players like that. And I think you can't be selling yourself to the fact that you can pass up on players, that are out there.
So if we're staying in that vein, are you upset that we didn't pursue Antonio Brown this season? Electrifying player that is obviously a locker room cancer.
I didn't think he'd be great for the culture. No.
Okay.
No, it's guys like Travis Kelce.
Are you sure? Not for this culture? Not for this culture?
Oh, imagine if he was in this right now. We'd make it worse for him. I don't want to do that to the man.
Come on, bro. I think he would have fit perfectly.
He gets to live with Tom Brady. Then imagine what would be happening to him here. Oh, people would be eating him alive. This team just sucks, though, and everybody wants to point
fingers. Know what? It would have been his fault instead of Carson's fault.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody wants to point fingers at somebody, dude. So he would have been target right on him. We would have never brought him in.
To all those people in the chat, I've already sent out the link to jump on the show, so I'm going to send it out one more time. If you want to jump on the show, here's the link to jump on. I mean, it's definitely a culture issue. Because again, like it's not like we're always out here trying to break stuff or we hear stuff, but this is the most I've ever heard out of the locker room. I've been doing this. How long have we been doing this?
We've been doing this 4th of July about 5 years. Yeah.
And the kind of things that I've heard have been eye-opening, actually kind of alarming. Because I didn't think it was that. I'm not gonna say that bad. Like it was eye opening.
I mean, it kind of feels like the same level. Like I haven't felt this level of Eagles drama since the whole T.O. versus Donovan McNabb thing, and all those stories were leaking out of the locker room. Then I really haven't felt that kind of toxicity and that kind of dysfunction within this organization since then. Have we reached that point? Are we back there? Should I head out of my driveway right now and start busting out some reps? Are we there?
I think we were there with Foles and Wentz. It's just we were lucky enough to have the Super Bowl, so people just overlooked it. But they're creating this drama, and that's the issue.
Imagine Carson doesn't show up to camp, and next year, and he's out in the driveway. He's like, I'm going to tend my crop. I'm going to get on the tractor. You trade me. You trade me. Like, I don't know, man. If I was Wentz right now, I would not trust this organization. I wouldn't trust how they handled this situation. Obviously, the play was, not up to par, but I'm just saying the way that they handled it. I would look at Doug side-eyed and be like, dude, how come you couldn't roll me out? The play calling was stale. I don't know.
I mean, to me, I think that's like the same things that we see, the players got to see too. Like Doug going for it on 4th and 15 today instead of kicking the field goal, or, them not running the ball enough, or expecting them to do all these plays that just don't work. So, I mean, they're in the building, so they got to be banging their head against the wall. So that's probably why they don't play as hard either. Like, why am I going to get myself killed running these plays that are not going to work?
Someone else who's banging their head. Tim, about to bring Tim on the show. He says, burn it down. Shout out to Tim.
Yeah.
How you doing, man?
How you doing?
Not too bad, but the team kind of stinks.
So, I mean, what is your overall vibe? Like, after that game, I know you felt a certain way. I know, were you team, let's make the playoffs, or were you like, I'm not sure about the squad?
So pretty much I'm always team let's make the playoffs. Especially, I feel like the draft this year is especially deep. So I was kind of like, even if we drop down in the draft to like, 13 or 17 or something like that, we can still pick up a really strong linebacker, a good cornerback, pick up a guy like Chris Olave in the second round for our receiver need. I think there's just a lot of skill players in this draft. So I'm kind of like, I love getting the top 5 pick too, but if we were in the teens, I don't think that would be terrible.
All right. Well, that's hopeful for all the people out there that are hoping that we lose out. Yeah.
But I also don't trust Howie with the picks. So that's troubling.
Exactly. So that's what we've been discussing. So, like, gun to your head, figuratively, you got to get rid of one guy. Is it Howie or is it Doug?
I guess if it's one, I got to go Doug, because I think if you can bring somebody in to talent evaluate that's a little bit better than Howie and kind of like hold his hand, then like you can get some talent. Howie scares me in the second and third round, especially. Because I see some guys that will flash on tape that aren't going to be the picks you want.
Yeah, Tim, I agree with you. Chris Olave, I'm sorry. I was going to say, Tim, like Chris Olave is going to be a monster from Ohio State. I think he's one of the best wide receivers in the draft. And I think, honestly, after like the top 5 wide receivers, there's like a clump of like 10 to 15 guys that are all going to make the case to go like second and third. I think the class is better this year than last year because people are arguing over Smith and Chase. I think that they're both better than Ruggs and Judy and arguably CeeDee Lamb. And then you add on like Rashad Bateman is a monster. And then Justin Ross, due to the injury, is going to slide a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to hop off in a second, but I think that right now, if the Eagles are like top like 5 to 7, there's only like 4 or 5 names I'm looking at. I'm looking at Jamar Chase, Devonta Smith, Caleb Farley, Parsons, even though we never draft linebackers. And if Sewell falls to you, like it's going to be tough not to take him, even though like we are pretty set at left tackle on paper. And we have to see what Dillard is and what Mailata is. Sewell is like a generational talent at left tackle. Like he's that good, but it's kind of just chasing Smith. And I love Farley. I think Farley is a guy that the fans can get behind with the story, and I feel like he's just that talented. I think he'd be awesome here, and he would be like a great guy to develop behind Slay.
So
it'd be nice to have a corner.
Absolutely.
One quick thing with that, one quick follow-up. That's exactly why you got to get rid of Howie, because you just said like maybe take that tackle, but we think we're kind of set. Do you think Howie's going to give up on that first-round pick this quick? Versus if you bring in another GM that doesn't have any ties to any of these players and doesn't have any regrets about, jettison a guy who was a second-round pick, or Jay Jaw is still on the team. Like he should have been gone, but that's a Howie pick. He's not going to just get rid of him right away.
You're right. I mean, these GMs, they want their guys to succeed because then that's something that they can point at on their resume and be like, hey, this is a guy that was my handpicked guy. He turned it around.
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm trying to add on to that. Like, we don't have a 4th-round pick this year because of Howie. We trade for Jernard Avery. Where's he been this year? Like, we cannot afford to miss out on these picks, let alone 4th-round picks that are usually a little bit better for us. And it just drives you nuts because this 4th round, like, you could get another wide receiver, you get a cornerback, you get a linebacker, you get a lineman, like, and we don't have a 4th-round pick, and we don't know what Jernard Avery is. Like, Jernard Avery, like, what is he? Like, we needed someone like him today because we didn't have Sweat, we didn't have Barnett, and we got no pressure on Dalton today. It was embarrassing.
Yeah.
Exactly why I said you got to clean house. Fire both of them. Push the button on both of them. Even if it's a oops. My bad. I didn't mean to push.
Like I feel that, but I just don't feel like both of them are going to go. Like I just keep feeling like Howie's going to be there with a football guy, and that's where I feel like who that football guy is going to be. That's where the changes have to come. We have Elijah waiting in the green room. Elijah, man, bring it on. How you feeling, man?
Hey, me basically being a football dude and a diehard Philly fan, so I'm a little upset just how it ended. Not really of the result, just how it ended.
Yeah.
It's sad. I mean, another season in the books, man. It's never a happy day. Yeah.
Now, were you expecting a bigger game from Hurts, or were you expecting Doug to actually call a better game today?
So I was expecting a big game from Hurts. I'm not gonna lie. I thought he was going to do amazing. He came out the first 2 starts and really just showed off the way he usually does. But I just kept on having this thought in the back of my mind that Doug was gonna just veer off the way he usually does, and when he had Wentz in, just veer off away from what he's supposed to do. Run the ball, run Miles Sanders to the ground. He's a dog. Just run him down to the ground. You have Jalen Hurts who can use his athleticism. Yes, you want to protect him and all that, but you barely seen what he can do. And then watching him from Alabama, because I had a friend at Alabama that actually knew him, and we seen him practice a couple of times. So, like, if he actually just just let him go play for a little bit, stick to the game plan. We was only down 10? Oh, he would have been great. We'd have been back and all that.
You try to kick field goals.
Yeah.
Kickers are people too to you.
Yeah, just at least try to stay in the game. Don't veer off from it.
Oh yeah. Or at least in that 4th and 15, don't throw a 5-yard pass to a guy that's known for not getting yak.
Yeah.
Oh,
everyone saw the second went to Ertz on 5 yards. It was like, oh, he's going down within 3 yards. This is over.
Man,
and speaking of regression, what a weird season out of Zach Ertz this year. I saw more drops out of Zach Ertz this year I've seen in his entire career. This was, I think he had 2 today. It was completely unheard of. Yeah, I don't know what is up with him, but I think it's making a lot of people more comfortable with moving on with him and that big contract next year, and just riding with Goddard and Dick Rod.
I mean, there's a lot of players who have not had 3 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sure. At the start of the year, Twitter was going nuts with let's get rid of Ertz, and I was like, what are you guys all crazy? And then he hasn't played like he wants to stay, so I'm like, all right, I guess we'll get rid of him then.
Yeah.
I was the same way. I didn't see this regression, but now that you see it, it doesn't look like he really wants to be here. His comments really made that clear. And it sounded like teams were shopping for him in the Packers and the Ravens, but he got injured, so maybe he would have already been gone. It's going to be intriguing to see.
Let me just say, too, I mean, for all of the flack that we give Howie Roseman and the contracts that he gives out, are we kind of glad that he didn't end up bending over for Zach Ertz's contract? I'm kind of thankful that we're not tied to that as well. That'd be another hurdle we'd have to another obstacle we'd have to hurdle.
Jeez, that'd be another $25 million cap hit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, you got
that was the asinine thing. We're already in cap hell, so Jason Peters started it by being an ass clown, and it just everything fell apart. I mean, not because of that, but that just kind of set the tone. Just bad energy, man.
Hopefully, our next guest, Superfly fan, hopefully he sets a tone. I mean, Super Five fan, how you doing, man? How are you feeling after today's game?
I think we're all feeling about the same, bro. I mean, let's be real, it's been a shitty season. I mean, a lot of changes going down, and more is to come. I think this year, I think Jeffrey Lurie, he's just had enough. He's going to draw the line. Somebody's getting fired. I think Howie's going to get fired. Some people are saying Doug, maybe both, man. But something needs to change. This is unacceptable. We deserve better than this. And I'm not anxious to see what's going to go down, but I am, because this season's over. Something's got to happen at quarterback. I like Jalen. We haven't seen everything yet, but it's going to be tough, bro. This is going to be the toughest offseason in a long time. But, hey, it's family. We're here forever. We love our team. It's just really disappointing. But there's change coming. I'm not excited, but I am kind of excited. I'm kind of anxious because this is going to be a much different lineup next year. Are you guys feeling the same thing?
Change is exciting, man. Change is exciting.
Change gonna come.
I'm kind of iffy on that change.
I haven't felt anxious about a change since the Chip Kelly days.
Right. One way or another, change is coming.
So I mean, you guys are at that moment. Right now. You guys are at that moment of when Chip Kelly got the boot. Is that how you guys are feeling right now?
Absolutely.
No.
Damn right.
I don't.
I don't know about all
Chip
that.
Kelly,
I'm going to shave that mustache off your face.
Yo, I got backup now, bro. I got more mustaches in the group now. I got my backup. So
right.
No,
I
but
think you got an inspiration going on
We're
here.
here to stay, bro. The stash is here.
You dig it? You dig it?
I see the
You know what? It's
trend.
here to stay. Damn it.
I see the trend.
No, but like if I'm comparing. If I'm comparing Chip Kelly to Doug Peterson, like let's just look at that realistically, though. Chip Kelly came in here and did nothing but bad. He came in here and destroyed a perfectly good roster. At least out of Doug Peterson, while I believe that Frank Reich was a huge piece to that Super Bowl, Doug Peterson was also a piece to it. So I can't look at them in the same light at all.
Okay. I'm sorry, Ev. Let me be more clear. I'm just excited to see a change.
Okay.
Not specifically Doug, just a change. My bad. I should have been more specific.
All right.
My bad.
Fair.
My bad.
I kind of want to see Deuce Staley get an offense coordinator job.
But you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
There is no comparison there. What Chip Kelly did to us is nowhere near what Doug did to us. Nowhere near.
Agreed.
For me, it kind of feels like Andy Reid's last year. Where it was like they went, what was it, like 4-12 or whatever, and you're just ready for the season to be over with.
Yep.
I kind of have that feeling like it's just time to go.
Kind of want to see Deuce Staley get an extended role.
I remember that. That was there.
Yep.
Yeah, but I agree with. I'd like to see Deuce get a little more of a role, especially next week. Kind of see what he can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you like to take over the play calling for next week? I mean,
hey, if they fire Doug, make him interim next week.
And worst that happens, I mean, we see what happens with Deuce calling plays. Worst that happens, we lose the game, get a better draft position.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe go up to like number 3 or 4.
maybe they draft a kicker too.
Hey, they could.
Meanwhile, Jake Elliott's over here.
Little.
They might need a punter.
Do you guys find yourself sarcastically clapping for Jake Elliott whenever he makes an extra point? It's like, way to go, guys! Way to go!
We high five now. We're like, yes, just like at the touchdown. We're like, all right, he made it.
He did
it.
I don't like that. Like, I shouldn't have to be pumped about my kicker making a fucking extra point.
Seriously, David Akers days, man.
We were spoiled. We were spoiled.
David Akers
got with Alex Henry, Cody Parkey, and Jake Elliott. Anymore.
It's hard to even believe that Jake Elliott made that 65-yard field goal unless you see the tape.
I know.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Everybody had a career year that year.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, out of all the guys that we're gonna potentially move on from, name some guys that you want to move on from.
Alshon and Djax, obviously.
Definitely Alshon.
Gotta get young
Yeah,
receivers.
do you honestly feel that Djax is going to get moved from after that play,
No.
Gail?
Yeah. Hey, you got to. I mean, it's the end of the line.
Evan,
but
I
is he?
asked Gail.
I feel like it sucks, but you got to move on from the old man.
I understand because it's like what I said in the pregame. You're going to get the one play, boom, and then what do you see the rest of the game? Nothing. Fragilely.
Well, to be fair, this whole offense gave nothing.
Absolutely. But did they say anything? Did he tweak something? Did something hurt or what happened?
I think he was just, he wasn't going to get many snaps because, he was just coming back from that injury. But hey, he made it count at least. Somebody did. Jeez.
I just want to go on the record,
but
Jimmy.
You're right. The Eagles probably won't get rid of him. Oh, great season.
I just want to go on the record. I'm a big Djax fan. Always have been from day one.
Me too.
But I mean, it's like if they can't build shit around him, there's no need to keep him.
I mean,
no need to keep him.
I mean, it's not like we're trying to roll into a season with like a 35-year-old wide receiver. Like it's just not how you build. It's just poor roster management.
But don't get it twisted. That 35-year-old is still.
No, that's my guy.
He's still killing it.
I'm a Djax stan, like a certified Djax stan. So the fact that I'm like, it's roster management 101. You have to get younger. You cannot keep relying on older talent. We've done that the last 2 years, and he's played like the least he's ever played in the NFL. So that's it. It is what it is. I mean, you have to like look at the roster and be honest with yourself. Like, you can't be living in the past, and you can't bring older players back. Bringing back Peters. Did you learn a lesson from again this year about bringing back Peters? Like we almost had to like not see Melada because of this front office. Not even like it's egregious what they were doing. I'm like, dude, Melada is here for a reason. Play him. And he played some serviceable snaps. He had to mix up here and there, but like again, for a transformed rugby player, he balled out.
He made some serious progress. Yeah, he did. Serious progress for sure.
But you know what? Put him on the field, see what he's got.
Even Deshaun, though, like when he got hurt earlier this year, was on a punt return, and that was because we hadn't drafted a good punt returner since Darren Sproles left. Like that's an issue.
I know. And it's confusing as to why we haven't seen Rager back there more. I mean, he popped off that punt return touchdown, the only one we've had all year, and we continue to see Greg Ward back there. So, Doug,
the coaching,
Doug, you there? Doug, you watching the film, pal? We are. Jesus.
And then
Christ.
Boston Scott still doing kick returns is that's malpractice at this point.
Yeah,
he's getting the ball to the 5-yard line, 2-yard line every time, and taking it.
We got away with one there too, man. With Dallas stepping out of bounds on that recovery, we certainly got away with it.
Big time.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see Nate Gary leave. That's an obvious one.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him maybe just like leave the whole region.
What about like a guy like we were talking about? You can't continue bringing older wide receivers back. What's the deal with Marquise Goodwin? What's his is he done after this year for this contract, or do we give him next year?
Who?
Marquise Goodwin, remember him?
Yeah, we'll have him next year.
Yeah,
someone brought that up in the comments earlier, and I wanted to touch on that because that's a great point. We tried. It's not lack of trying necessarily, but it is stupid to have guys like Deshaun and Alshon be your top receivers when they're up in age like that. But they did draft some guys, and they traded. What was it, like pick 190 back to pick 210, and they restructured Goodwin, so it was like 1.35 mil, I think. That was a pretty good move, I thought. And if he and Djax were here, this offense would have looked a lot nicer. So maybe if Goodwin comes back next year rather than Deshaun Jackson is what my thought process was. And I'm a huge Djax fan, but hey, man, you gotta.
Marquise is at home right now, looking at us like that was a smart move on my end.
Oh yeah,
Marquise is at home right now. He's like, "Yo, let me get the link. I'll tell you what's going on."
He'll give us all the dirt.
Yeah.
Hey, at least he's got a brand new baby. He's happy. He's feeling a certain way. This is right here is Marquise Goodwin's contract. Oh, I thought I had it up.
Yeah, I think we still have him.
Well, because the thing was, he ran a risk of getting cut if they would have liked some of the draft picks better than him. So it made perfect sense for him to just sit out the year, get paid,
Yeah,
and then come back healthy next year.
Even if it's like, I know that all the guys that opted out for COVID, they ended up getting a lesser. Yeah, what he got, 200,000 this year. I mean, that's still a good payday, man.
That's still pretty good.
I'll take 200K.
So I mean, if those guys are like contingency plans, that's like the Bobo version of Deshaun Jackson, and they're thinking that they bring him back next year, move on from Djax. I mean, the amount of money. Talk about the portion of our cap that was paid to Alshon and Djax. You're talking about what?
So much.
What, 30 mil?
Yeah, 27, 28, something like that.
Yeah, it's 20 mil to guys who. The production that you got from talk about the money that was paid to Peters. I mean, that money that you paid to these players to produce, and you didn't get anything in return. That's where you have to start thinking about, like, the blow up thing is real. I'm totally okay with it. I mean, like, we got a Super Bowl. Like, all the old heads up in here wearing Kelly green. The struggle, what it took to get here. So if I have to like struggle for another year, so they get back to like great cap and a guy that's actually making some really quality picks, then it is what it is, man. Like,
let's look at it with the glass fast full as well. I mean, we're going into next season with low expectations. The Eagles could surprise us and show up next year. We could be very pleased with what we see. You know what I mean? If the expectations are low, that makes it that much easier to exceed them.
If the culture's fixed, yeah. Like that 2017 team was a team that liked each other. The whole idea of playing for the next man was a thing. Mm-hmm. Like, do you feel that with this team? No, I don't feel that at all.
We didn't have Super Bowl expectations for them in the beginning of the year.
It's true.
But they still played together, man. They played as one. Like, you can see when a football team is harmonizing. Like, even the dance routines were harmonized. The whole dance routine had the whole damn offensive unit out there. Yeah, he had goddamn Alshon out there bowling, doing his bowling lane thing. Just everything seemed right. Everything seemed fit. I think the glue guys, it was the most important thing. Having glue guys in here is the most important thing. If you don't have glue guys to keep a roster together, like a Chris Long,
like a Jenk,
like a Malcolm Jenkins, like a Brandon Graham. Those are the kind of guys that keep a team together. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, that's really, if your team is ass internally, that's what it looks like.
Yep.
Does everyone believe that Joe said to the Quito article now?
I do. I came around on it.
I'm like a fireball to the chat, but I'm just saying, you guys sort of believe some of that article?
I mean, after we heard what we heard a few weeks ago and just hearing how toxic it was within the locker room and hearing how Carson Wentz having his own circle of people, Joe Santoliquito was the first person I thought about. That was where my head went, and I was just like, man. Huh? Yeah, I know. I remember just thinking about it. I was like, man, I remember that when that article came out a couple of years ago and how he just got like absolutely destroyed, run out of town. It was a reporter that was blocking like everybody on Twitter. I mean, how do you build a fan base as a writer if you're blocking everybody? So he put that article out there knowing that it wasn't going to be received very well, but he believed what he was saying. And I think that collectively we somewhat owe him an apology.
I mean, because the way that the stories get dropped on Eagle fans, it's usually before a game or before something like your wedding or your childbirth or something, and they drop this like big story. And like, could you stop messing up my whole life? But this stuff that I've heard, like the fact that like even some players, like wide receivers on this team, Carson has never had a conversation with, which is what I've heard, and the fact that. Those kind of stories I keep hearing, like these are from players' mouths, not any beat reporter or anything. It's just like, what kind of environment? And that's where it goes. Like, everyone's talking about clean house, get the culture fixed, and go from there. Because that's where we're at right now. We're on a culture movement, and I'm all for it.
You know what? I am starting to feel like this is the Chip Kelly days. All this culture talk. God.
It feels like the week right before Chip Kelly
It's
got
deja
fired.
vu, man. It's deja vu.
Why did you guys feel nervous about this? I mean, because obviously we went from a peak where we were like going into this game at potential playoffs here, and now we're at a low where we're like.
I feel like I'm on like death's row right now. On death row right now. Like I know the execution is coming. We got one more game that we got to go out there and throw something together. But ultimately, we're going to be put down afterwards. I just feel like I don't exactly feel like nervous about it. I know what's coming. I know what to expect, and I'm just hoping that the Eagles, figure shit out in my afterlife.
I'm actually at ease, because of the fact that it's officially over. Not even looking forward to next week because there's no reason to. So I'm at ease. I mean, again, going through the stage of watching this game today with, of course, these sorry ass Cowboys fans in the room. It was dreadful, but the first two series, I mean, it started off good. My ass was off that seat talking shit, and the rest of the game, I had to sit there with my mouth closed. We were getting our asses handed to us. So I'm at ease. I'm at ease in the fact that it's just done and over with. We ain't got nothing to worry about. But yes, I'm waiting for that breaking news to come through on all Philadelphia Jersey channels stating that somebody got fired.
For me to
get the guillotine.
Get it out. Get it ready. Sharpen that thing up.
Well,
Maybe do a lot shopping.
The thing that makes me nervous is like the fact that there might not be enough change. Because I'm team get rid of Doug and Howie. So if both of them aren't gone, then I'm going to be upset either way. Like, because I don't think you can move forward with either one of them.
Yeah.
The problem is Jeffrey Lurie has shown that. I agree with Michael. Like, I think that both of them either need change or need somebody to help them. Glad that, we brought in Dorsey, but, there's issues all over. And that's my same fear. I think that, there's not going to be enough change. I think that they're going to give us the excuses like they always do. Oh, it's Corona. Oh, there's all these injuries. It's like, dude, we don't care. We want to see this team play with some damn heart, accountability, and you're the owner. You're supposed to hold all these guys accountable, especially Howie and Doug, your guys that are out there, your commanders, dude. And it's been a shit show, man. And fans have every right to be pissed off because I sure am.
Bringing on the Philly sports fan. Michael, what's up, man? How are you feeling?
How you guys doing?
You're our last caller for the day. So bring the heat, man. How are you feeling?
I appreciate it. I'm mad. It's like I want all three of them need to go, meaning Howie, Schwartz, and Doug. They're my thoughts, and I want the report to come out any minute that one of them's fired. But I can't believe after seeing the spark that Jalen Hurts had that now that our season's over. It's like so unreal.
So I know that you are you're heavily involved in the Carson versus Hurts discussion. Where's your head at right now? Did Jalen Hurts? Did you lose some trust in him tonight? Are you a Carson guy? Where are you at?
My head's back and forth right now, but I still have trust and faith in Carson Wentz. And I've been getting heat on TikTok from it. Like people are telling me like that Jalen Hurts isn't the man. I'm like, yes, you are. When you watch that guy play, like you can't say that he's not, but I don't know. It's just there's a lot that this team needs to fix right now, and I think we hopefully I'm leaning on getting Jamar Chase. That's who I want in the draft, and if Howie don't mess it up. But now I was on with you guys draft night, and you probably know where I'm going with this right now. I was on with you guys draft night all 3 nights of the draft, and you told me that Jalen Reagor was a good pick and a good guy. What are your thoughts on that after seeing how Justin Jefferson's been doing? Gail and Evan, I know I was talking to you guys that night.
Yeah, no, I mean, Justin Jefferson's had a phenomenal season, man. There's no denying that. Jalen Reagor, I think that Jalen Reagor has potential to be more than what we've seen this season. I think that he's not exactly – this offense doesn't fit anybody. whether it's the quarterback, whether it's the wide receivers. So I really am kind of wondering what Jalen Reagor still is, but Justin Jefferson for sure seems to be an elite talent in this league. He seems like another guy that if we were to had drafted him instead of Reagor, he could have been successful. But I am hard pressed to believe that I don't think that Justin Jefferson would have had the same success this year if he was on this team. I think that it would be the same exact issue where it just doesn't fit in this offense.
No, I was also high on Justin Jefferson. We only did 3 draft videos. We did Justin Jefferson, Jalen Reagor, and T. Higgins. And I felt like like Justin Jefferson, man, he could separate route runner. But I felt like I thought he was going to go before Reagor. The fact that he was still on the board. The Vikings got a good pick, man. You're talking about a rookie who cracks 1,000 in his first year, but you're also looking at this offense, the Eagles' offense. Look across the board. Everyone has had the worst career years of their life, their football lives. Djax, Alshon, Ertz. You could go. You're expecting a rookie wide receiver to flourish. It's still early to say that the pick is bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we need it.
Evan, Gale, I want control of some of these memes next season.
Don't meme crazy, bro.
Because after that comment that Gale just made, I wanted to throw that face up there. Because I told you, Justin Jefferson.
Did you watch?
But you know what? Hold on. Let me finish, man.
Watch my Justin Jefferson video.
Let me finish. Evan, you are right.
Did you watch my Justin Jefferson video?
No matter who it would have,
Justin Jefferson video on Justin Jefferson.
I did. No matter who it would have been, you're right, Evan. They probably wouldn't have never fit this system because of the way we're so fucked up. So I mean, Mike, I was a Justin Jefferson guy in the draft, and we went with Jalen Reagor. I wasn't too happy on it, and I wasn't too bought into it. But again, going back to what Evan said, regardless if it was Justin Jefferson, if it was CeeDee Lamb, if it was whoever, Higgins, whoever came into this organization, the play calling that we got going on right now, those guys wouldn't have had the same success that they got going on right somewhere else.
I mean, we definitely got problems all the way across the board. I mean, you just look at how everyone's not produced this year. No one's like even your starting quarterback has not even produced in this year. Like, what does that tell you about what's going on offensively with this play calling, the cohesiveness with the players and the coaches? I mean, that's where we're at. So, I mean, obviously, this whole blow up feeling is real to me right now. Like, I'm closer to that than I am to bringing back some of the coaches. You got to make change. That's the only way that we move forward after what we've seen this year.
Where do you guys see Wentz going next year? Like looking at him, I feel like he fit with the Colts due to Frank Wright. And when I think about it, I feel like I don't know if it's possible, but I really want to get Quentin Nelson for Carson Wentz. I feel like that would help the O-line so much. But there's talks of him going to New England, and it's like I want the dude to succeed in his career, but I don't want to see New England succeed. And him and Belichick, that will be. It's like it's hard to see. You get what I'm saying? Like I don't want to see.
You can't have your cake and eat it too, though, man. You can't wish success for him and then he goes to the Patriots and not wish success for him. He's going to end up if he ends up leaving the team, he's going to end up not on the Eagles, and you're going to have to just deal with the fact of wherever he's at. There's no way around it.
Yeah, he's going to have to deal with it. And as we get close to closing out the show, we'll go around the room with your last word on the Birds before we get out of here. We'll start with Super Flyers fan. Last word on the Birds.
Yeah, guys, it's been a rough year. It's almost over. This is one of the most frustrating ones that I can recall since Andy Reid's last year when he got canned, and I was at that Tampa game. It was the last one. They went 4-12. That was super frustrating. This is up there. The expectations that we've had the last couple of years, the whole Carson ordeal, and when the offense shows up, the defense doesn't, and vice versa. It's just been a shitty year, and change is coming, and we all know that. The question is where and how much. But change is coming. So at the same time, it was a shitty year. It's almost done. I'm ready for next year, but the in between time, that's what can make and break your franchise, and we all know that as Philly fans. So, but we're real. We're here to stay. We love our team no matter what. We're pissed and we hate everybody right now, but we're real. We're real. We're real and we'll be back around. I mean, I'm mean, bro. I'll show you the back of my hoodie. I'm cold-blooded.
Oh yeah.
Cold-blooded.
That's what they call me. That's what they call me at the bar, bro. I'm the Eagles fan. Well, that cold-blooded motherfucker over there. Don't kill me. He'll call you bad words and shit. So, this is awesome, though, guys. I haven't done this yet, but I'm gonna be a rag on this, man. This is pretty cool. It was nice meeting you.
We appreciate you.
Yeah, we appreciate you hopping on, man. We really do.
Yeah, man.
Make sure you subscribe on all social media platforms.
Hit it with that 5-star.
I'm gonna let my birds. I'll let my birds fans know too, fam.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.
We're gonna go with Tim.
Go Birds.
Yeah,
Go
so
Birds!
I think after next week, I think everyone's going to have to kind of do an autopsy of the season and just kind of look at the organization from top to bottom. I'm with everybody else. I think that there needs to be huge dramatic changes because I don't think rebuild is even a strong enough word for what this team needs as far as its roster is concerned, because we just have massive gaping holes all over the roster. And I don't really trust the people that are in control right now to adequately fill those needs. So yeah, I think we just start looking forward to the draft and start, I've been kind of just doing film and watching players and stuff like crazy and doing mock drafts. So I'll just keep doing that.
Very nice.
And you're in the right range right now. Mike, last word in the Birds.
So a lot of people hate us right now, but like my shirt says, we're from Philly. No one likes us. We don't care. But
We don't care.
no, after tomorrow, I feel like tomorrow. I don't want to wait till next week. Tomorrow, everybody needs to go, and then we gotta focus on the offseason and the draft, and then rebuild this team. Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Malcolm, last word on the Birds. Malcolm's frozen. He's frozen. So we'll go with
That face said it all.
Yeah, he said enough with that picture. He said everything.
Oh, there he is. Malcolm, go ahead, man.
Malcolm.
My internet connection was messing up, but when we drafted Hurts and how we came out and said that with QB Factory, look forward to next year, but I don't trust Howie being in control of drafting the right guy.
Yes, sir.
Mike.
Like I said earlier, Howie's got to go. He's done a bad job drafting, bad job with the cap. Doug, I feel like it's time for him to go too. They wanted to bring in a different offensive coordinator, but they couldn't get a good one in past years because he would give up the play calling. So I feel like he's got to go as well. I would maybe low key take a look at someone like, I don't know, Byron Leftwich down in Tampa. He did halfway decent with Jameis Winston. So maybe he could come in and do something with these quarterbacks. I don't know. I don't think they'll get rid of Doug before the next game because you'd want to see what you can get with Jalen Hurts. So you'd want to keep the coach around at least until then. So I think we won't really get any big news until after that final game.
All right. Carson's PR agent. That's what we're on the Birds from.
Just getting through this last week and seeing what the outcome is, and I agree with Malcolm on. I don't think that we're going to get any news until after the actual final game of the season. I hope to be wrong come tomorrow morning, but don't see it happening. Yeah, like I said, I'm pushing the button on both the guys. Howie and Dougie got to go, and then of course when those two go, Jim go. So it's time to clean the house and reevaluate what we have in front of us with a new management.
Blow the whole shit up, man. This team is uglier than my face right now. I'm sick of looking at it. I'm sick of looking at myself. I'm sick of looking at this team. I want everybody to go. It is what it is. It's a sad day in that the Eagles are no longer in contention for the playoffs. I'm so surprised that we were in contention this deep into the season. I really thought that all hope was lost about halfway through. I thought some guys showed a lot of fight on this team, and I'm proud of our Pro Bowlers. Congratulations to BG. Kelsey showed up this year. Cox showed up this year. There was a small handful of other guys that really showed up and gave it their all every single week, and I'm thankful to those guys. As for everybody else, you guys can pound sand. I don't care who ends up on this team next year. I just want a winning roster. I don't care who the coaches are. I just want a winning team. So fuck the Cowboys. Go Birds.
I'm looking at Jeffrey Lurie. I'm saying, I want you to have a man in the mirror moment. I want you to, make that change, man. Because at the end of the day, you want this place to be a better place. You got to look at yourself and make that change, Jeffrey Lurie. Because at the end of the day, it's all about getting dubs. It's all about getting the playoffs. It's all about having a cohesive locker room. The drama that we have seen over the last 2 years is not good for culture-wise. It's not good for the front office. I think you guys really have to self-evaluate, see where you guys stand as an organization. Like what is the direction we're going in? But you own this team, Mr. Lurie. Make the right changes. But just want to give a shout out to all the people that were active in the chat, jumping on the show, all the newcomers as well. Make sure you subscribe out there. And also make sure you call your friends out there going through a tough pandemic right now. But we do have the Eagles football to hold us down. Even in the off season, we're going to be doing tons of content, draft content. A lot of the writers are getting their mock drafts ready. We're going to be doing mock draft simulations on live shows and stuff like that. Start breaking down because we're a draft season now. All right. So the draft nerd in me is going to start breaking out. I'm actually going to the Scouting Academy next week, starting that just to.
Congratulations, sir. Congratulations.
Pick up more knowledge, gain some knowledge there. But it's going to be great when we break down some of these players because we're all going to become off-season GMs. But I do want to encourage you guys to call all your peoples, make sure they're good, and check in on your peoples. That's the most important thing to do at this time. And as always, we will see you guys in the next one. And fly, Eagles, fly.